What's up, YouTube? This is your boy John from Project Ellsworth, and I am back with you today to give you my review of the 1985 film, Silver Bullet. Happy Friday, everybody. If you're new to my channel, do me a favor. Remember to click that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed to my channel, welcome back, folks. Silver Bullet was written by the master of horror, Stephen King. It was directed by Daniel Attias, starring Everett McGill, Gary Busey, and the late Corey Haim.
Help me, please! He's out there! I saw him!
So our story takes place in the small town of Tarker's Mill. Typically, this town's pretty peaceful, it's pretty uneventful. As of late, the town has experienced a couple pretty brutal murders. And the town folks ain't taking this too lightly. They're all on edge, they're very edgy, they're very upset with the sheriff because he hasn't been able to produce any results whatsoever. Day's about ready for a good old-fashioned lynching. And once the town folks just about have themselves whipped into a froth, in addition to the sheriff, there's a priest portrayed by Everett McGill trying to keep the peace. I wonder why. The other important part to this story is a little cripple boy named Marty, and he's portrayed by the late Corey Haim. Marty is our main character. Marty lives with his mother, his father, and his sister, who pretty much just thinks he's a pain in the ass. It seems that there's only two people in this family that actually really care for and love each other. That's Marty and his Uncle Red, portrayed by Gary Busey. At one point in the story, Uncle Red gives Marty a high-powered wheelchair that more or less doubles as a motorcycle. It's more or less a motorcycle that doubles as a wheelchair. Let's face it, it's a motorcycle. And Uncle Red also gives Marty some fireworks, and he tells him very specifically, when you're setting these fireworks off, stay close to the house. And he specifically points out that within this bag of fireworks, he says this one is a rocket, save this one for last. And that's pretty much the only part of this conversation that he paid attention to. So later that night, in the middle of the night, Marty climbs out his window and climbs down an antenna tower that's attached to the side of the house. Not too bad for a kid built like a string bean. He hops on his motorcycle, or wheelchair, and rides down to a bridge that is nowhere near close to his house. And he just starts setting off these fireworks. He's out there setting off these fireworks, not a care in the world that he's by himself on a bridge in the middle of the night when nobody knows where he is, when suddenly he sees something approaching him at the end of that bridge. Thankfully, he listened to his uncle and he still has that rocket left. He lights the rocket and shoots it at whatever this thing is approaching him. And thankfully, not only does he have tremendous upper body strength, he's got incredibly perfect aim. He hits this thing right in the eye. He does manage to escape, and the next morning, he's trying to convince his uncle and his sister that he saw a werewolf last night, that he shot that werewolf in the eye with a rocket, and now they just need to go out and find somebody in town who's got a bad eye, and mystery solved, we found the killer. Silver Bullet is based on the 1983 novella Cycle of the Werewolf, written by Stephen King. Stephen King was actually also involved in writing the screenplay. He actually wrote the screenplay for Silver Bullet, which more than likely is why this turned out as well as it did. I know he's written a couple other screenplays. Creep Show was one, Pet Cemetery was one, Cat's Eye. It just seems that when he is involved in the screenplay writing process of films that are based on his writings, they're always better. They're always obviously going to be closer to what his product originally was, and I just wish he did that more often. This thing growing on my nose is ruthless. The special effects supervisor on this movie was a guy named Michael McCracken, and I thought he did a pretty good job here. There's blood in this movie, but not tons of it. There's enough there to be effective, but the main focus, I think, with his work in this movie is the transformation into and out of the werewolf. And this was back around the time when you saw The Howling and American Werewolf in London and Wolfen. So werewolf transformation was a big thing back then. Great practical effects. As far as the acting in this movie goes, firstly, I'll talk about Gary Busey. I just think that this movie goes to show you that Gary Busey is simply a great actor. This was when he was significantly younger, obviously, 85, that's 35 years ago. He was much younger. This was before he went crazy and he was known for being nuts. The guy's just a good actor, and he put down a solid product here in Silver Bullet. The other one that I want to talk about is Corey Haim. This movie, it's just, when I watch Corey Haim movies, it almost makes me sad. My wife and I met Corey Haim a couple years before he died. He passed away in 2010. I think we met him at a horror con in Cherry Hill, New Jersey in 2008. I think it was 2008. And he just seemed like such a nice guy. He was friendly. He was gentle. You see him in his older movies when he was younger, and it saddens me that this guy took the turn that he did and that we lost him at such a young age. I just think he's just a tragic story. As far as his performance in this movie goes, it was typical for him. He was good in this movie. He was good in this. He was good in The Lost Boys. He was good. He's good in everything that I've ever seen him in. This was a very talented guy who we lost at such a young age. So Silver Bullet, 1985. I don't have a whole lot to say about this because I don't want to give away too many spoilers. Most of you, I'm sure, have already seen this movie. But for those of you who haven't, I don't want to give too much away. This was just a good movie. Stephen King wrote the novella. Stephen King wrote the screenplay. It's a good product, and I had a lot of fun with it. If you haven't seen Silver Bullet, give it a chance. It's a pretty good movie. That's a really good movie. Have you seen this flick? Do you think that this holds up against the other werewolf movies of the 1980s? Leave me some comments down below and let's talk about it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you've been enjoying my content up to this point, and if you're still here, please do me a favor, click that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching.